The same Vrain Valley School District is located in northern Colorado, approximately 30 miles north of Denver. We encompass 411 square miles, service approximately 27,000 students in 51 buildings, 43 of which are schools. And as far as computers are concerned, we have around 10,000 devices equally divided into thirds, 1/3 Macintosh, 1/3 PC, and 1/3 thin clients. And we see a huge increase in the number of wireless devices given the iPads and iPhones and things of this nature. So it keeps my 4 field technicians and 2 network technicians extremely busy. We're very serious about wireless networks in our K-12 schools. There's becoming a de facto shift from wired to wireless access as far as students and teachers are concerned. We're seeing some really fascinating applications that wireless gives us the opportunity to explore that the wired network never could. For example, with the proliferation of iPad devices, especially amongst administrators and teachers, we see teachers and administrators being mobile and walking into classrooms and doing observations. And as far as teachers are concerned, they can take those mobile devices, whether it's an iPad or a laptop, and circulate the classroom. So not only is the learning enhanced, but the actual physical proximity to the teaching and learning is greatly enhanced just due to the nature of wireless mobility. The devices that students have in their possession at their house, and even some of the teachers, is often better than the devices that we as a school district can provide to the students and teachers. We encourage students and teachers to bring their own technologies onto our campuses. We didn't have a ubiquitous Wi-Fi experience. Therefore, we needed to provide coverage. And even beyond that, because we had been, I'll say, duct taping wireless over the years, an implementation here and implementation there, we had a huge range of makes, models, devices, and it just wouldn't suffice to provide, our students with the 21st century education. It's just, our kids need a rock-solid, best-of-breed wireless experience. And we just weren't receiving that experience with our implementation of, like I said, various Cisco technologies smattered throughout the district. We simply can't afford drop connections as we roam from classroom to classroom. Connectivity, the speed of the connectivity. And the big thing that we needed to provide students was, or address, is the reality that tons of students are going to be bringing in devices. So we figure if our average classroom has approximately 30 or fewer students, we're going to architect our wireless solution to provide a really strong signal that addresses 30 mobile devices minimum in every single classroom. And even beyond that, we wanted to design our network and place enough access points so that in the event of an access point failure, the adjacent access points could not only service all of the high capacity demands that they're experiencing, but could also reach across and service the failed AP users with zero interruption of service. I don't know if you've ever been in a classroom with a wireless lesson being taught, but the reality is we can't lose 1 minute of learning time. And if you do, the impacts are, you might as well scuttle the lesson. All of the leading Wi-Fi vendors, with the exception of Ruckus, focused on the end user experience after the connection had been made. So, for example, things like management, firewall, and they talked a lot about those sorts of things that differentiated their product. But we felt that at the end of the day, an omnidirectional antenna is an omnidirectional antenna. And we wanted to keep the main thing, and for us, the main thing was a rock-solid connection with the client. Ruckus just does Wi-Fi differently than anybody else. We went to one of our middle schools and we picked what we considered one of the worst possible environments. It was a science classroom. Lots of metal on the walls, electrical cables hanging down from the ceilings, and at that point we put an access point in a different room, but the signal could obviously still reach into the science classroom. And we laid out 30 Macintosh laptops and we started testing them. We went through a whole series of tests that we'd lined up. Everything from logging on, testing our Active Directory integration, the speed, of the wireless logon compared to a wired logon. We started pulling up YouTube videos on all 30 of those Mac laptops. Didn't have a hiccup. And so in the adjacent room, we connected 30 Dell laptops. Now mind you, this is all on the same access point. Went through the same battery of tests, Active Directory checking, so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, we had 30 Macs in one room in a, I'll say an RF challenged environment, pulling different videos simultaneously. We had 30 Dells in a different room pulling 30 videos simultaneously. And because we didn't see any hiccups, we started reaching for our iPhones, any BG device we could find, and we maxed out at 78 devices, and we literally couldn't bring that AP to its knees, meaning we didn't experience a hiccup in service. When we started deploying the Ruckus gear out in our schools, we found the deployment to be very easy. Specifically, the controller setups, the installations of the AP, access points, turning them on, field testing them. It was almost one of those things like a cookie cutter. Once we did one or two, it became very easy. We just started rolling them out as fast as we could. So far today, we've deployed Ruckus gear in 31 of our schools. Ultimately, when we're finished, we'll have 51 sites completed, encompassing 3.77 million square feet. And that sounds like a big number, and it is. But we're really pleased so far because of these 650 Ruckus APs that we've deployed in the 31 sites to date, we haven't had any issues. And I'm really pleased with that. I can honestly say we've had 0 out-of-box failures, and everything's been working just like it's been advertised to date. One of the interesting things that we discovered when we started deploying iPads and iPhones on our wireless network, twofold. One, that these devices simply don't participate in the wireless network as well as traditional laptops do. They simply can't hear and participate in the wireless network as well. For example, you can imagine an administrator taking an iPad, walking through a classroom, doing a teacher observation. And as that principle circulates around the classroom, simple things like tilting the device to different angles, moving it around the room, things like that, it's amazing the impact that just the orientation of the device has on the strength of the Wi-Fi signal. And the fact that BeamFlex can compensate for and optimize that reality of not being able to participate very well in the changing orientation is just key. I just don't know how other vendors with an omnidirectional strategy could address that as well as a BeamFlex powered technology. 21st century education is an untethered one. Let me say it a different way. The idea of requiring a student to plug a wire into a wall in order to further their education is very passé. We need to offer not just the opportunity to do things wirelessly, but we need to give students a reliable, fast Wi-Fi experience.